All right, what I've done so far is I've now hooked up the wire going to the coil. I've hooked it back up over here to the ground, and I've also hooked the ground up. But I have the seat switch, and this other switch that I found. I've got them disconnected, so I'll show you right now that. Let's choke this thing. Okay. So now I have the key switch working, and I'm going to move the camera. So let me shut off a second. I'll move. Okay, now I have the camera moved so you can see the two areas that I'm looking ahead. Let me get some more light. In here, those other two wires come in through here, and they pass through, and then this is the two of the wires go here, and then there's also this wire right here is passing through here also. It goes down in here, and there's a switch up in here, which is for the shifter when you engage the belt. So I'm going to clean this all up, and then I'm going to see if that switch is working. I think it's not. And it's mounted right here. I'll show that soon. Let me get this cleaned up. I'll try to get some light in there. I got most of it out. So the switch that I'm looking at is right here, and I'm going to take it out of there so we can see it. It's like a 5/16. But it might be metric. All right. This is the switch I'm talking about right here. And it's got a little lever on it. Right there. And I don't see movement. We're gonna get them out of there. We're gonna test that switch. I don't think that switch is moving. I think it's stuck. Get it out of there. There. So this switch right here is so when the PTO is engaged, this is supposed to work. And if it's working, I'd be surprised. I don't hear any clicking going on. So let's test it. Got one on each side. I don't know if you can see that or not, but try to put it where you can see it. Maybe you can see it. All right, right there, maybe. Okay, it appears to work. So as I push the lever down, and it doesn't click, but I don't know how it's working because it's not clicking. So it just may be a slight contact, but you can see that I got continuity when it's pushed down and I let up. So that's working. So let me check that one more time. So when you push down, it makes continuity. So that means when the lever is in position, it's got continuity, which would ground it. So we're going to try that. I'm going to hook the wire up back here on the wire that goes to the front. That I think is what's causing the problem. And maybe just cleaning all that stuff out of there might allow that switch to start moving. But I'm hooking up the other wire that goes in that little switch right there. And with the switch disconnected, I should have an open circuit and the motor should start. Choke it again. Okay. Let's disconnect that wire. Good possibility there's a break in that wire somewhere, or a ground, a short. So let's unhook it. I'll leave the key switch hooked up. All right. Flood it. Yep, I smell gas. Let's see. I guess the next thing to do is see if we got spark. I smell gas, so it smells, I think it's flooded. But I'm going to check spark anyways. I'll just put another spark plug in there and see if she's still sparking. No spark. All right. Disconnect these two wires again. So now I have the wire going to the coils unhooked, and my ground wire is unhooked. Now I got spark. Let's put the spark plug back in, see if it starts. Oh, okay. I think I found the problem. Found that problem. Okay, so the wire, the black wire that's going up front, that passes through here, I guess, might have to check and see if there's another switch hidden somewhere else. Or I can check the continuity between the wire. That's the wire going up front. There is another wire going down to the back, so Let's see where that goes. We'll get there. We got to eliminate one wire at a time. I'm going to get down here and just take a look up in there. Get the light. Let's turn this a little bit so you might be able to see where I'm working on. So, get a light. I've got a wire disconnected down here where all the wires come together for shutting the engine down. I got one wire disconnected still, and I thought it was going up there. But now, it kind of looks like it's coming back here for some reason. It may be this wire right here. What in the heck would we have back here that would need a switch? There's a switch right here. Ouch. Oh, there's a button on it too. But there's nothing there. I see a button, but I don't see anything that pivots to push on it, unless it's this rod right here. It's in neutral. Well, I'll jack up the back end of this thing so I can figure out what's going to push on that switch. So there's a switch back there in the back that is, it's not pushed in right, or it's open. Or I think it's open. I think it has to be in. But what would you be doing? What other safety would you have? I mean, it's in neutral. Okay, I'll get the jack around here. We're going to lift it up and look. We know one thing, it will start. It starts pretty good if it's got spark. Look, I got a lifting point right here. Okay, there's a cable hooked onto this bracket. It goes up through there, and I don't see where it's going yet, but it comes up to the front. Let's go look, see if we can find the cable. This wheel back here, the tire might be bad shape. I don't know what the heck's going on there. Kind of flops around a little bit. Looks like it rides against that. Let's look at that when we get running. Oh, I see it pulls that up. Wow. Who would have thought that? Okay, let's go to the front. I'm going to get out of here and come up to the front. Okay, I think I figured it out. Let me hook this wire up, and then I'll show you. If this works, I'll show you what's going on. So what I'm thinking here now is this should start. About ready to send everything flying. Boy. All right. So, boy, let's see. See if I can operate two places at the same time on the opposite ends. All right, this switch here. When you push on the brake, it's supposed to engage that switch back to it, but I don't think it is. Oh, nice. I mean, it's pushed all the way down. I didn't make the contact, so I'm going to disconnect the wire. Get the right one. So now the wire to that switch is disconnected again. Oh, gas. All right, it should start. Okay. I'm going to take the camera and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about here. So right there is a switch. Okay, I took the switch out, and I'll test it, but I'm going to see if it'll start with the switch out. Okay, so it's still doing the same thing. That's disconnected the clutch switch. So I'm going to have to find out where this wire goes. It goes down there. There's 4 wires on this. There's 4 wires on this on the back of the switch. Let me swing this around. You can see there's 4 wires. They all go down there. I'm going to have to chase that wire down and see where it goes. It's a puzzle, but we'll figure it out. I'll be back. All right, I've taken the fuel tank out and dumped it. And one of my concerns was this right here. There's no globe on top of this, and so this is almost like a funnel. It's tapered, and so I was afraid quite a bit of water might have gotten into the fuel. So I took it off and drained it, and I also took the carburetor apart. I got pictures of that. Should put those in. This is the fuel I took out, and if you can see down here, see how well that right here. If you can see that on the bottom. Right there, you'll see the water that I was talking about. Get in there, right there. It's on the bottom, right here, from down here and there. All right, so there's more water going to settle out of this. That's why it's kind of a milky. This is kind of a milky color. So there's going to be more water settling out of it. So all the fuel's been taken out. I've replaced the filter. I've cleaned the carburetor. I've got all of the. I've checked out all of the switches, and they've been reinstalled. So all the switches have been checked, the brake switch, the deck switch, and the clutch. All have been checked out. I do have this this module right down here. I don't know if you can see this right here. Let me get a flashlight. So this module right here is mounted in underneath here. All of those switches that I was looking at come back to this. And it kind of says, okay, all of them are working together. One problem I did have that I found, so I was trying to chase down this black wire over here, and this is what I found. Maybe she can zoom in on that. Anyways, right here, under my finger, it's black. There's 2 blacks coming to it, and they go to a red. They turn to red. So it looks like one of the black wires is going down below, and one's going up over here to the switch. But anyways, so when you're chasing wires on stuff, even manufactured stuff, there's a possibility that somebody's going to change color wires somewhere along the line. And there it is. 2 black wires tied together going to the red wire going into this module. So, all right, I've cleaned up the recoil and the cover that goes on there. I got those cleaned, ready to go back on. I'm getting ready to install the fuel tank, but I'm going to see if I can do something about that top. And we're going to see if it runs. And if it still cuts out the spark, then this module is going to have to be replaced. This one right here. Because all the switches are working correctly. I've checked them in both positions. And this switch back here in the back, it's actually 2 switches. It has one part of that switch is normally open, and the other part is normally closed. And there are 4 wires going to it. I'm not quite sure. I don't have a schematic to see what they're doing, but it has something to do with that module right there. All right, so I think I'm going to go ahead and get the fuel tank on and put some fresh fuel back into it, and we're going to see what this thing does. Okay, I've got the fuel tank back installed. I put in some fresh gas. We're going to give it a shot here. See, I don't see any leaks. I did put a new filter on there. Let's see what happens. I got it choked. All right, I don't have the ground wires hooked up right now, so I'm going to do that. I thought I had that hooked up already. So here's the wire for the coil. And this is the wire for the cutoff switch. I'm just going to go ahead, the cutoff switch, or the key switch, and the coil are hooked up. And I'm going to leave the other switch disconnected right now, the one that's got all the safety switches on it. I'll leave that wire disconnected. And we're going to try that, make sure the key switch works, and then I'm going to do the other switch. Okay, key switch works. So now I'm going to start it again. I'm going to touch all the safety switches. They're working too. That's a good thing. I think we had some issues going on with the switches. I cleaned all those up and all the connections and made sure the adjustments are right. And that may have been why I wasn't getting spark all the time until I disconnected the ground, which is through the switches. So I'm going to tighten that back up. I have to get a wrench. For now, we're going to do that. All right. The next thing I'm going to do is take it out, and I got to get the cover back on because we're not getting enough air circulation if I don't. I'm only running this a short time so that we don't overheat. But I'll put the cover back on. I've got that clean. And then I'll probably, before I put these covers back on, I'm going to drive it and test the cutout for the blades and the brake. In operation. I'm going to go operate it in the yard. But I'm going to have to do something about this. Either get a new one, or I think I might be able to do something here. I just got to think about it a little bit longer. So the next thing I'm going to do is take it out for a test drive. I'll put this cover back on, and we'll see what happens. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. I just took it for, you can see I washed it. I took it for a ride around the yard, did a little bit of mowing with it. This module is bad. This module right here. And you can't run without it. So what happens is when you, it's probably been acting up for a while, but when you push the clutch in, you can start the engine. But as soon as you let it up, it should street switching, because that's why it's got the double switch in the back, normally open and normally closed, so that it can continue to run after you get it started. That's not working. So I disconnected. You can't just pull this out and leave it out. It won't run. So I disconnected the wire over on the motor, down here on the bottom, where I'll show you. I'll take the camera around there. But I'll show you that, and all of the switches are working. It doesn't have a seat switch in it. That's been disconnected and removed. That may have to be there. But right now, you cannot start it and take your foot off the clutch and let it out, or take it off the brake and let the clutch out without it stalling. It'll shut right off. I'll show you that right now. So with the clutch pushed in, wait, I don't have that in there. I gotta hook this up first. I just drove around the yard with the wire disconnected, so I gotta hook that back up. Touch the wire back over here. This is the wire going to all the safety switches. I'm going to hook it back up. I got it disconnected now so I could ride it around and make sure everything was okay. It actually runs pretty good. I've had a John Deere for a long time, so this definitely is quite a difference between a John Deere 425 and this. This would be okay for a small yard. I don't think I'd want to run it in a big yard. It would probably beat me up. Okay, so now I got the wire hooked up, and the module is somewhat plugged in. Let me get it straight. Okay, it's touching now. It's plugged in. So what will happen is you'll start with it's in neutral. The blade automatically disconnects when you lift your foot off this. It disconnects the blade. So now you should start with a foot on the brake. As soon as I take my foot off the brake, it shuts off. Which tells me that this module is probably bad, because all the other switches are working correctly. So I think we're going to have to replace this. I'll see what I can find. Other than that, I did put air in the tires. When you go to put this lid on back here, you got to make sure you get this metal piece in up in there right, because it'll rattle if you don't. And let's see. I got to get one of these clips because that fell off on the other side. I think I've got one. Anyways, so it's operational. I'm going to put the cover back on the belt. I think it may need a new belt, or maybe I can make an adjustment on it. I'll take a look at that first. Kind of hops a little bit, but it mows great. I went out there, rode around the front yard, just mowed up my leaves and stuff, because the grass isn't growing right now. But overall, that ran fine. I just think that we need to replace that part. Oh, I moved it now. I've got the fuel in it. I've got the shut-off is turned on now. I'm going to take it for a ride, see if I got where you can see the yard. I do. And I got the camera on and the microphone on. See how this thing works. So in order to start it now, you got to have your foot on the brake. So all the safety things are working. Safety switch under here is working. The brake switch is working. The blade is working. And let's see if you can see that. So right here, this lever right here, you pull it up, you push down on this lever here and hold it. As long as you got your foot on that, it keeps the blade engaged so it's running. As soon as you let up on this bar, that arm goes back and then shuts the blade off. The shifter's over here. If the safety thing wasn't on right now, you could start this thing here. And I'll probably do a little short on that. There it is. It runs. I got a cover to put back on here. It's running pretty good. I'm still working on the gas cap. I did put a different gas cap on there for now to keep the water out because it had quite a bit of water in it. So you can buy these gas caps on Amazon that don't have a gauge on them, but it keeps the water out. What I'm trying to do is repair the one with a gauge. So that's that. It's a snapper. It says snapper on the front. It says snapper on the steering wheel. In this red, it's not John Deere. So if you like what you see here, what I've done, give me a thumbs up and subscribe, please. And I thank you very much.